What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another live stream. Today, I have an awesome topic. I think you're going to love it. If you're someone who is struggling with back pain and you have been struggling with it for a long time, you're going to want to stay tuned for this one here because I'm going to talk about what's really happening when we're thinking about this. And many people think that back pain is just a normal part of aging, that they're supposed to have back pain. But I'm going to kind of break that down and tell you why that's not true. And I'm going to tell you the truth about back pain and aging and what you really need to know. Okay, so before we jump in, I'm just going to make sure that everything is running smoothly as always. As if you're listening right now, I am streaming to multiple platforms, and I am not super adept of this, and I'm doing this by myself. So if you're here right now, I appreciate you. If you like these, drop a like for me. It goes a long way of letting me know that there's actually people listening and there's people who want me to do this. So drop a comment. Let me know that you're enjoying it. And if you have any questions, make sure you drop them as well so that I can answer them. All right. So, as I said, we are going to discuss the truth around back pain and aging. Again, this is one of those things that people think is normal. They think, oh, I'm getting older. I'm supposed to have back pain. That's just part of the game. All right. And I used to think that as well. Like that used to be my default setting with regards to what I thought was normal. And we often hear that once you hit a certain age, back pain is going to happen. But it really just isn't true. So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Darcy, and I help people solve their back pain problems so that they can live life without worrying about flare ups or setbacks. And so, I used to play college basketball, and I used to be used to pushing through the pain, pushing hard. Right, you got to show up, you got to compete, and that requires you to ignore your body sometimes. And this went on even after I was done college basketball, as I played in many men's leagues, and I would run into this problem all the time. I was the guy on the sideline that would be doing a warm up for 30 minutes before I could play. And obviously, that was because of a whole bunch of reasons. But, when I was about 35 years old, I got the sciatica for the first time. So I had back problems all throughout my adult life, but I actually got the sciatica, the paralyzed leg, the intense pain, couldn't walk, was sleeping on the ground. And that was essentially where everything changed for me. And during that time, I tried obviously tons of physical therapy, chiropractor. I considered surgery for like a minute, considered the injections after doing the MRI. And none of that seemed to work for the long term. Right? It was just more so like, hey, I went to go see the chiropractor, or I went to go get some dry needling, or I went to go get a massage. And those things worked for a little bit, but they never really lasted. And I really thought at this time like this would be my life, right? But I realized later that I was focusing on the wrong things. And once I learned what to focus on, that's when everything started to change. The biggest turning point in my life was when I put on my phone screen that, I was never going to take my health for granted. I put that on my phone screen, put that on my computer screens, and you can ask my friends about it. And that for me was a statement of me saying, look, clearly something had to change, and I was going to do whatever it took to keep that change. All right. So many people believe back pain is just a part of aging, right? Uh, you might hear that in the media, friends, even from doctors, right? You'll say, "Oh, that's just normal. You're supposed to have it," right? And you start to believe that, and you think that you have to adjust your life around the pain. I'm just going to have to deal with this pain. I'm going to have to grit through it. That's I hear that all the time. Now, I want to make it very, very clear that there's a difference between chronic pain and just discomfort, right? Discomfort and tightness is probably part of being human. It's going to happen if you're pushing your body, if you're running a marathon, or you're doing these types of intense activities, or if you train past your capacity. Those types of things will happen. But what isn't normal and what most people are actually living with is chronic pain. They have it all the time. They wake up with it, and that's what they think is supposed to be normal. And that is not true. Right? So you've probably heard somebody tell you that, you're getting older, back pain is normal. If you've heard that before, drop a thumbs up in the comments and let me know, because again, I feel like this is way too common. People just accept it, right? And so the biggest problem with that is that it keeps you stuck. It prevents you from actually finding a solution, right? If you think that that's just the norm or that is true, then you will actually stop finding a solution, or you'll never actually seek out a solution. Right? And so, I tried physical therapy, and there's some really good physical therapists out there. I've tried chiropractic. I've seen some really good chiropractors. Um, I've considered all sorts of things. I've used inversion tables. I've used back braces. I've used TENS machines. I've used meds. I've done everything, right? But those are all temporary fixes. And it wasn't my age necessarily that was causing the pain. It was really movements and habits. Right? And that was a hard pill to swallow, because it meant that it was my fault. What was I doing? Right? Um, Treatments tend to focus on symptoms. And at the end of the day, you need to address how you move and how you live your life. That's the real secret with all this. Okay. And so back pain doesn't have to be a part of your life. It's about moving your body in a way it's designed to move. And so what I really teach clients is functional movements, specifically movements that aren't pushing through the pain, right? And so starting at where they're at and building up from that point. And this is really important, because if you finish your physical therapy and you're out of pain, or you visit the chiropractor and you're out of pain, and you just go right back to doing the thing that you were doing that got you in pain without filling the gap in between, you're always going to end up back there, right? There's a missing piece. And this is what I teach my clients to do, right? We want to support the spine. We want to reduce the strain. Uh, and in addition to that, the mind-body connection is so critical. So understanding that stress and tension, they make pain worse. Um, some people may not believe that, but again, you can go look at WebMD and just look up stress and just look at the effects it has on the body. I challenge you to go do that right now, or at least after the live is over. Right. So I really work with clients on identifying their body awareness, both physically in the world, but then also stress as well. Like, how does that make them feel? What types of things are happening when they have a stressful day? Because what we're trying to do is break that cycle. There's a cycle that's taking place, and we're trying to intervene. Right. So you really don't have to live in pain. You don't have to stop doing what you love. You really need to learn the right way to move. That's the key here. Right. That's truly the most important thing to do here, is learn the right way to move, learn the right way to live, and stop causing back pain, right? Stop pushing through the pain. Listen to your body, right? Start to do things that are actually going to help you in the long term. Okay. So in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be hosting a free masterclass where I'll teach you some of these tactics and really how to become back pain free. And so if you're interested in joining it, you can just DM me, join, and I'll send you all the details. And again, like I said, we're going to be going way deeper into some of these topics. We're going to have open conversations, opening the floor for questions, things of that nature. So if you've been struggling with this for a while now, and you have questions, or you really want to kind of dig in a little deeper, definitely sign up for the masterclass, and we can go in to some more detail and really kind of dig in some more, and hopefully give you some information to start moving down the path to healing. All right. So if this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Have you been told your pain is just part of aging? And again, just DM me about the masterclass. Um, and like I said, I hope that this helps. So briefly here, I'm going to stay online for a little bit. And if you have any questions, jump in the chat. I'm just going to scan through the chat real quick and see if anyone's dropped any questions, comments. David Russell, yeah, got L3, L5 bulging disc with sciatica. Not fun. No, sciatica sucks. Sciatica really sucks. I had sciatica. I remember how it feels. Uh, I always equate it to like feeling like you're getting electrocuted. Right? That's how I felt. It was like truly being electrocuted. And then when it wasn't so bad, it was just like a constant pulsing of pain. Right. So I know how that feels. All right. Any questions for me? Just drop them in the chat. Questions about anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the topic I talked about today. It can be different topics related to back pain, training, whatever it may be. I am here to assist. All right. Well, if no one's going to ask any questions, I'm going to end the live. I just wanted to jump on real quick just to talk about this topic and discuss. I think this is a super big topic. Oh, someone. Okay. So you're saying training helped the most? Uh, well, yeah. Yes and no. So what I am saying is that training the right way helped the most. Okay. So when I just went and did the same type of training I was doing, so I would go to therapy and then I would feel better. I would stop all my training. And then after that, I would jump back into my training and then I would feel worse. And then I would go back to therapy and then I'd stop my training or slow it down. And then I'd jump back into my old training and then I'd feel worse. So there was a gap here. And so training the right way, in a way that doesn't instigate the pain, in a way that is aligned with like proper movements, breaking those movement patterns that you have that are causing the pain, that's the key to actually uh, regaining capacity to move without instigating more pain. Okay. So, yes, training helped, but training the right way was the biggest thing. And so, if you've never trained before, uh, you know, certain level of training could help you. If you have um, a long history in training, you may want to back off some of the things that you've been doing because you may be actually causing yourself pain, right? David Russell, does diet have a big play in back pain? So, um, it depends. It depends, right? So, when we're thinking about back pain, it's everyone's back pain is slightly different. If you're talking about sciatica, everything factors into that because when we're starting to deal with these sciatic issues, we're dealing with nervous pain that can be triggered by things from just like intense emotions, right? So that's where we have to really be cautious. And so whenever I'm thinking about this from a holistic standpoint, which is really the way I like to think about it, is what are the levers that you can pull that are going to put you in a better position? And so in some cases, you may say, hey, if I eat better, is that going to improve my back pain? Well, it might make you feel better. And as a result, it might make you move more. And as a result, it might make your back better. Or in some cases where you're eating highly inflammatory foods, you eating better may actually lower your inflammation in your body and may put you in a better position. So at the end of the day, it's not going to solve the problem wholeheartedly, but it could be one of the levers you can pull to improve your situation, if that makes sense. Nadine, is yoga considered helpful for sciatica? Because for some reason, it exasperates my pain. Well, this is one of those things where I think, Nadine, we sometimes we outthink ourselves, right? And so if something exasperates your pain, then it's not good for your situation, right? And so yoga is good for yoga, right? It would be like me saying, is high jumping good to fix knee pain? No, high jumping is good to get good at high jumping, but to train to be a high jumper, I may actually need to have strong legs and it may actually make my knees stronger, etc. Right? So when you're thinking about this, whenever you're thinking about anything you're doing, I don't care what type of training it is, if it causes more pain and you're more flared up and you're more irritated, then the answer is it's not good. All right? I hope that makes sense. And so whenever I'm working with my clients, if I give them something, I always tell them, look, if at any point this causes pain because you're doing too much of it, or this specific movement causes pain, you need to stop immediately, or you need to regress. So do a lower version of that same exercise, right? So to answer your question in so many ways, um, I hear people say yoga is helpful for sciatica, but there's zero evidence to that. And I'll add that most of the time when you're doing yoga, you're doing forward bends, depending on the type of yoga, of course. But let's say you're doing a lot of forward bending. Well, in most cases with sciatica, that's really bad for you, right? So I would always just say, you know what's good and what isn't good for your body. If it causes you pain, if it causes you irritation, just because a doctor or a trainer or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok says it's good, it's not good, right? This is a very nuanced approach, right? So I hope that answers your question, Nadine. I know I could go on and on about this, but listen to your body is the best thing I can say. Is don't just do something because you heard it's good for you. Just like the point of this conversation is, back pain is not part of normal aging. People just assume that it is, and if you accept that, then of course you're going to believe it, and you're not actually going to go out and find solutions. I hope that helps, Nadine. All right, what other questions do we have here? I'm going to stay on for another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to jump off. So let's hear them. What do we got? You're welcome, Nadine. Shoot me a DM, and I can give you some of my free programs. Okay. So if you want a nice workout that you can do that's actually going to help you, shoot me a DM right now, and I'll send it over to you. Okay, Nadine? And that's anyone who's listening right now. David, do I still get flare-ups? No, I do not get flare-ups. I don't consider myself having any sort of issues with recurring flare-ups or anything like that. I'm able to train and do new sports. But there was a time when I did get flare-ups. And those were scary times because many of the times I thought I was better, right? I was like, oh, I'm better. I'm past this. And I found out real quickly that I wasn't. And that was still that same idea that I explained is, I hadn't filled the gap between why I was having the pain and where my training was, right? And so we want to fill that gap. And once I was able to fill that gap, now I'm always working ahead of getting a flare up, if that makes sense. I'm being preventative, right? I'm practicing preventative measures so that I actually never go there. And so, I've started plenty of new sports, jujitsu, Muay Thai, been able to run, and do things without having any flare ups. So, what are the questions we got? Yeah, David, send me, like I said, if you're listening, shoot me a DM. I got some free resources, some workouts that are really, really good, really helpful. So just shoot me a DM if you want those, and I'll send them over. Okay, it's a good place to start with training and just getting back to a point of feeling good, or at least knowing what to do or what not to do. I think is the biggest thing. Uh, MadX16. Okay, so any tips for some stretches to do in the morning, like as soon as you wake up? Well, I don't know much about your situation, so while I'm saying this, you can fill me in. Do you have sciatica? Do you just have back pain? This is going to be a key distinction to make. But it might surprise you that I'm not big on stretches. Now, you may be thinking stretches as movements. So we don't have to get into like what's a stretch and what's strength training, etc. Like I said, I have a really good follow along workout that I can send to you. It's called the Back Defender, and I would suggest that you do those 6 movements in the morning. So if you want me to send that over to you, just shoot me a quick DM and I'll send it over. And like I said, this is designed for you specifically, right? It's truly designed to be able to help you solve this problem. Um, so just shoot me a DM if you want me to send that over. Yeah, herniated discs. Apparently, oh, Nadine, thank you. You said I was breaking up when I was talking about the yoga and bending part. Yeah, just to recap, when you're thinking about bending forward, so in yoga there's a lot of bending. Uh, Bending isn't necessarily good for sciatica. So, like I said, just listen to your body. That's the big thing. Whenever you're thinking about anything that you do when it comes to sciatic pain and having that extreme pain. If you do it and it causes more sciatic pain, shooting pain down your leg, shooting pain into your back, you're really going to want to avoid doing it. Okay. That's the big thing. 100% every time. All right. So um, just consider that when you're thinking about what type of training you're doing to like, rehab yourself in this case. Okay. All right. What other questions do we got? I'm staying on as long as questions are being asked. I will stay for a little bit longer. I'm loving the feedback. I'm loving the questions so far. So if you got them, let me know. All right, the room's gone quiet. All right, well, if that's the case, I am going to end the live stream. And like I said, I'm doing this once a week, so you can catch these all on my YouTube channel as well if you want to watch the restream of them. So they'll all be on my YouTube channel, so you can definitely check them there. And if you have any questions, shoot me a DM. And yeah,